Japan's yen jumped suddenly against the dollar today. Traders say they suspect intervention by the authorities to try to halt the steepest fall in around 3 decades. Welcome to Market Insight. I'm Leah Mishkin. So the yen has fallen 11% against the dollar so far this year. Even a historic exit from negative rates has failed to lift the currency. Joining us now is Toby Gibb, Head of Solutions at Artemis. Toby, first of all, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So Toby, why do you think the yen is languishing to these historic lows?
Yeah, so the yen is hitting exceptionally low levels. So as you say, it's the lowest level it's been since about 1990, and that's despite the fact that the Bank of Japan has exited their negative interest rate policy. I think what's driving this is the fact that although interest rates in Japan are sort of set to rise, the differential between Japanese rates and rates, particularly in the US, still remains very significant. So Japan is still, and the Japanese yen is being driven by the carry trade. So effectively, investors are borrowing in yen at very low rates and investing elsewhere, and that's putting downward pressure on the yen. The other thing is just momentum. So the yen is weakening, so people sort of bet against it, and then that sort of reinforces the cycle. So there's a sort of a momentum element to it as well.
So what are the next steps in monetary policy?
Yeah, so I mean it's an interesting one. So weak yen is clearly good for some parts of the economy. So exporters are benefiting, the tourist sector is benefiting in Japan. But it does have negative impacts on the consumer. So, imported goods are going up, and that sort of has an impact on the cost of living. What we've heard from the governor of the Bank of Japan is a pretty strong sense that they want to reverse this trend and sort of kick the yen off these low levels. And it looks like today we've seen the start of that with, although it's not been officially confirmed, but with potentially some intervention from the Bank of Japan to try and reverse the downward spiral.
Let's shift gears now. A couple of big mergers in the spotlight, starting with Anglo American. Reuters reported BHP Group is considering making an improved offer for the miner. Anglo American rejected their initial offer pretty quickly and uniformly. One analyst has called copper the new oil. So should Anglo American hold out?
I think so, yes. I think so. We saw the first offer or the first sort of bid come in last Thursday. Anglo very quickly rejected it, saying it undervalued the company, but also placed a great amount of emphasis on Anglo to do quite a lot of work in terms of selling off certain parts of the business, and that presented quite a lot of risk to Anglo. But what we've seen over the weekend is reports that that BHP will come back to the table in terms of upping that offer. And I think there's a good chance that will happen. There's a lot of shortage of supply in copper, and I think over time demand for copper is going to go up quite significantly. It's a key component of sort of electrification and development of EVs, and copper is really likely to benefit from that. So there's going to be a bit of a sort of arms race, I think, from miners to get more copper production facilities.
All right, and next we have the French government looking to bid for some of Atos' key units. And Atos says it needs $1.18 billion to stay afloat over the near term. That's almost double an earlier estimate. Do you think the offer from the French state is attractive? Because if they start splitting up the company, what will the rest be worth? Or does the rest just dissolve?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So Atos has had to up the amount of cash that it needs to keep its business running by sort of 500 million, and that's due to real weakness in terms of customers signing new contracts. So they really are under quite a lot of pressure. This bid from the French government is a big positive for them. We've seen a big jump in the share price today, up sort of upwards of 20% today. But we need to bear in mind that the shares are still down 80% probably or more over the last 12 months or so. But this does provide a lifeline to the business. And also, I think, from a French sort of national perspective, the importance of maintaining some of these key assets, cybersecurity, but also the sort of supercomputing business that's key to the military is very important from a French security perspective.
All right, and finally, what are your thoughts on Blackstone's latest bid for Hypnosis Songs funds? They have now trumped an offer from Concord. Is this a done deal, or do you think the bidding war continues?
It looks like this is probably the end of the bidding war, from what I can tell. The board has accepted this offer. and sort of stepped away from the Concord deal. It looks like a pretty good deal. It's sort of, I think, valuing the assets pretty reasonably. So I would think this is probably the end of the bidding war.
All right, Toby Gibb, Head of Investment Solutions at Artemis. Many thanks for your thoughts. And that's Market Insight. Don't forget, you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.